Hello, class, and welcome to our teaching on parables as we're going through the Synoptic Gospels, looking at the teachings of Jesus, in particular, right now, parables. His use of parables is so powerful and is so relevant, and there's a reason why theologians throughout history have continued to use his parables. There's a reason why we still see some of his parables used in day-to-day speech, even from people who do not know who Jesus is. We see people talk and use the term the prodigal son returns so often, and we see that for a reason. And because there's so much power in them, and there is a deeper meaning that can be understood. So, what are parables? I think in the simplest terms that we can use, it is storytelling to convey a deeper meaning, a deeper truth that sometimes would be so much harder to understand. Parables, because they are stories, because when Jesus is telling these, it is in a way to where it opens people up to so many different ideas that they'd normally be closed off to. Maybe you're like me, and here in the Pacific Northwest, people are very safeguarded and they have a lot of different views and beliefs. And if we just directly come out and say what we're trying to, what our ideas are, what we think about something, so often people are so guarded. But when we use storytelling like Jesus, it finds a way of opening people up in a much deeper way. So, parables. Parables are powerful storytelling that Jesus used to convey a deeper meaning, a deeper truth. Now, there are so many different things that we need to look at when we look at parables. We have to look at the historical context of what we're looking at with these stories. What are these characters? Do people know them? Well, in the context, when we're looking at what was the time period like, what would people have known, we have to understand that it is different than it is now today. And so Jesus is using characters, he's using people and professions that these people hearing this would understand in a deeper meaning. And so we're first going to be looking at Matthew. Now, Matthew chapter 13 has a bunch of different parables with the teachings of Jesus. Now, the first ones I want to look at in Matthew chapter 13, when we're looking at this, is he starts with the parable of the sower. Now, the parable of the sower is seen through all three of the Synoptic Gospels for a reason. We look at the parable of the weeds. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seeds in his field. We look at the parable of the mustard seed. He told him again, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed. When we're looking at these parables, we have to understand that there is a significant there's different meanings. There are different things that Jesus is trying to convey. Now, in these, we can look at it and say, okay, what we're seeing right now is a common theme of communicating the characteristics of heaven so that people can understand. We look to Mark chapter 4. We see, again, very similar in some of the exact same ones. We see the parable of the mustard seed. Again, he said, what shall we say the kingdom of God is like? Or what parable shall we use to describe it? Again, we see the parable of the sower. When the crowd that gathered around him was so large that he got in a boat and then sat in it out on the lake while all the people were along the shore, and he taught them many things about parables. We see a lamp on a stand. He said to them, do you bring a lamp to put under a bowl or a bed? Instead, don't you put it on the stand? For whatever is hidden is meant to be disclosed, and whatever is concealed is meant to be brought out into the open. If anyone has ears to hear, let them hear. We have to look at parables in such a mindset to ask, okay, what is Jesus trying to say in this? What ideas, what heart, what things is he trying to convey that we here, all these years later, need to understand? So many of his parables, especially in Mark, are teaching something very specific, a very specific idea. Now, throughout these Synoptic Gospels, we're going to see similar parables. We're going to see them placed in different areas of Jesus' ministry, but it remains the same throughout all of them. There's power in all of the parables that Jesus uses. There's ideas, deeper ideas, that we can look at we don't have to just look at them at face value. We can look at them for deeper meaning, but we have to understand the context. We have to understand what Jesus is trying to convey. And ultimately, we have to understand that there is a reason why Jesus taught using parables, and even today, preachers are still using them. So, to begin our first week, we have to look and ask ourselves, why are parables so important? What are parables? And then how can I jump into and learn and have a deeper understanding of the parables that Jesus used? All right, we'll catch you next time.